What is up, everyone? For show and tell today, I've got a little project I started. It is a pencil design that I'm working on, and look at this, everybody. This is my Faber-Castell super kit of amazing pencils of different darkness. Now check this out. On the back you can see the handy guide. It goes from 8B, which is really dark, to 2H, which is super light, and all the amazing and magical shades in between. So usually you'll probably end up drawing with a couple of these. You can see from here I clearly use these two for the most part, so you may use all of them, but chances are you might use two. So basically, if you want the whole kit, it's not that expensive. Faber-Castell is a great brand, but I know a lot of you have been asking me about pencils for automotive rendering and drawing, and to be honest, I just don't use pencils that much, but I thought I'd do a quick little something here just to show you some car shading. So I'm going to do, basically what I did was first was just sketch this out. My kids drew over these sections. That is not my attempt at rendering. That is my kids drawing on it with something that I can't erase. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's a spoon or something. But essentially I drew this side first, flipped it over and traced the boldest lines there. And then what I'm doing as I'm going is I'm kind of erasing lines or lightening lines. And I've done this wheel about 3 times, and this is just a kneaded eraser. It works good for these kinds of things. So when you draw it once with your pencil, you flip it over, especially if you're using vellum. Although vellum for pencil I wouldn't recommend. That's the best medium for doing your color and your chalk and your marker work. But if you're using pencil like this, what I'm doing is basically flipping it over and I'm lightening all the lines so that I can still see behind it. So for example, I did a lot more detail work on this wheel on this side. See that? But when I draw on this side, I can already see the main lines for those spokes that I'm going to use. So I don't have to redraw that. And I kind of don't want to, because the more you have going on here, the more you're going to smudge it and the harder it's going to get. So basically what I'm doing here is to understand what are the prime outlines that really define the shape, and to pretty much erase everything else that I can. So I finally got this wheel perspective right, except on the other side the spokes are off. So you can see here, like on my first drawing, the center line is up here, but that perspective was wrong. Now the center line is going to be here. So that's going to create an interesting scenario later, but essentially I'm going to go back and erase the ones on this side, or at least lighten them up so they're not distracting me for the side that I'm actually gonna do the shading on. So now you can see it's a lot less going on there. So the pencil that I'm using for this, it really doesn't matter too much. This is an HB right here, and I was just going to do this with just a regular old yellow pencil because, to be honest, that's kind of the only kind I use. I don't use too much other pencils from my kit, even though I have this super nice multi-pack. But what I'm really doing here is trying to define and find what are the lines that really make this car distinct, and what lines can I get rid of? How can I reduce it to its elemental kind of shapes that define it? And you can see here I threw on this, I really wanted to do the doors as part of it, because I don't usually do the doors open for renderings, but with these really cool style, I thought that'd be nice to open it up and do a little interior, which we'll do at the very end. I don't know what kind of car this is. I know a lot of you asked me about drawing certain cars, and I wish I had more interest in drawing other cars or existing car brands, but I just don't. I just kind of make up my own thing and go from there. But obviously, if your career is in automotive design, you may want to draw cars for the brand that you work for, and we'll have another video to kind of talk some of those details. But here you can see I'm exploring some of the window angles and the door flip ups. In another video I'm going to do the shading, but for now I just wanted to show you if you're using pencil, it is kind of a nice medium, because you can fix and change as you go, especially those of you with the struggling with those rear wheel perspectives. And I'll just do a quick run through now. Like sometimes when I do rear wheel perspectives, I'll hold it like this, and don't forget, everybody, as you're holding it, make sure you're not trying to do it with your wrist, but that you're flowing it with your whole elbow, and you're really drawing and trying to get that angle from your elbow. So as I'm doing this, I'm probably going around like this, and you'll know too the problems that you tend to have I don't know if you can hear that, but I'm pushing a little harder when I'm at the bottom of the curve and then a little lighter when I get to the top. And when we get to the shading is when this is going to really count. But for now, you can see I just changed that perspective up a little bit so it looks like that camber, like the tire's leaning out a little bit more. Other than that, having the two sides really helps. And if I didn't mess up the front tire, I'd be working on the other side now, but I definitely messed it up on the other side. So I'm just going to kind of forget about that side. And here you can see on the front, I've pretty much got this perspective close enough to keep going for this front wheel. So usually I don't do this except I can see the exact line where it goes. So I usually don't tell people to do short little bursts like that. But in this case, you can see exactly where the right line is. So all is good. All right, so in the next video, we're going to talk a little bit about shading. And what I'm going to do now is just see if I can get rid of some of these lines that we're obviously not going to include because those are where the flip-up doors are. So get rid of all these. This kneaded eraser is really good, by the way. I like this one because you can cover larger areas, and if you have a regular like #2 pencil eraser, it's a much smaller area that you can erase, and it's going to take it off probably a little faster than you want. So right now I'm just using, this would be a chance to use your lighter pencils if you have the kit, to be using those lighter gradations. And then what we do when we get to render, we're going to bust out those real heavy weights and use those. So right now is the time when I'm looking to get the angles right. I've got these really sharp corners which I'm looking to accentuate. And this front time, I really wasn't sure what was going on with this, but as you can see, there's a bit of a wing down here. See that? There's a wing that comes around the corner, pretty intense one. So that's cool. And then there's an intake there, and there's some kind of hood louvers or something going on there. So we'll figure all that out later when we get to the actual shading part. But for now, this is just a quick example. I started with this, and actually this is a lot heavier. I can go around and really lighten up a lot of these. Although I think I like the hood louvers a little bit more on here. This one looks like it has a lip that comes up higher, but this front wheel was all off, so that's got to go. That is wrong. And don't worry, everybody struggles with those wheel perspectives. Also, if you have children, you may want to like move your papers and your fancy stuff away from their play area, because they will find it and they will get it. So anyway, next video we'll do some rendering on this. For now, that is today's show and tell. Faber-Castell, thanks for making this possible.